What's going on, everybody? I'm Jaye the Black here. Shout out to everybody that's tuning in. For anybody who has listened to my content, for anybody who understands why I make videos, I speak on things from a red pill perspective, and yes, I use celebrities in order to do so. And I will in this case, because I'm going to talk about Cris Carter and what's going on in his situation, because it seems like there's a lot that's going on. There's a lot we just don't know, but I think there's a lot we're going to know probably sometime down the road. Now, for those of you not familiar with Cris Carter, he's a former NFL player, played for the Eagles, the Vikings. Since retiring, he's gone into television. He was at ESPN. Now he's at Fox Sports. Well, he was at Fox Sports till he got fired. And there's some things going on with Cris. And I just want to say this. The thing about Cris is Cris can be a very boisterous guy. You know, he has a very alpha mentality. He has to be heard. He has to be seen. People should listen to him. He has that type of mentality where everybody should want his opinion, seek his opinion, because his opinion is the best answer, or his opinion, his thoughts are the best answer for the questions that you may have. He can be abrasive. You know, I think his personality wore thin on ESPN. That's how he ended up on Fox Sports. Because if you remember, when Cris Carter first got to Fox Sports, when he first got to Fox Sports, he was doing some appearances on various shows. Didn't really have anything solid until they came with this show, First Things First, with him, Nick Wright, and Jenna Wolfe. And I think that when the show was put together, it was put together by old management, who is no longer really there, who's no longer there, but it was put together in the mind of Cris, not the mind, but it was put together basically mostly for Cris, because he does have a personality that people like to see on TV. People don't want to see cookie cutter, PC, corporate commentary. This is why I do my commentary the way I do it, and why people listen to me, because I'm not corporate at all. I can kind of be all over the place sometimes with my commentary, but who cares? I'm giving you the content that you want to see. And speaking on this situation with Cris, and just looking at his personality, I knew it wouldn't be too long before he would be gone, because of the type of guy he is. It just doesn't fit what TV is anymore. TV is very corporate. It's very PC. You're not going to be able to be yourself unless you're taking a super liberal, left-leaning type of course, as far as your opinions. I wouldn't say that as much on ESPN, because they're trying to keep things more to the center. But with Fox Sports, the fact that the people that put him on to put that show together aren't there anymore, he was kind of left there with people who don't understand him. You know, they don't really understand his personality. There was talk that he made some crude comments to his female co-host, who is in a lesbian relationship. Okay, and if you can't tell by her demeanor that she is in one, I mean, you can kind of tell by her demeanor that she ain't married to no guy. Let's just go ahead and say that. Okay, and also, I'm gonna get to his marriage. Well, his marriage to his former wife, and how that has played a role into what is going on now. Okay. Because Cris went through a lot. Cris went through addiction early on in his career. His first wife, she helped him through that and really got him to but really was there for him when he really needed her. But again, marriages just don't work, and she was compensated and the relationship is dissolved, and I don't think they have really any issues with each other, but I think some people hold that against him. I still think people hold that against him, because he's dating this younger Caucasian female, and I think that there are people who may still feel some type of way about that, even though that's his life. You know, he chose to go in a different direction. Yes, this woman looks nothing like the woman that he was married to. But what does that have to do with the fact that both of him and his wife, I believe, are on good terms with each other? But there are people who've never gotten over that. You mix that with, Cris Carter's personality. Again, he has a very alpha mentality to where he has to be the top opinion, the top voice. He knows more than this guy, that guy. Guys who they can be very bombastic with their personality. Cris has a very personality. He's around a lot of beta males, a lot of guys who are probably, controlled by their wives, pushed around. They don't really know how to deal with a guy of Cris Carter's personality. But I think Cris Carter and the journey that he's been through, I think his makeup, him as a man, is just different from people of today. A lot of these guys just aren't built like that. We are capitulating. We are bending the knee to the social justice portion of society, even though it's a very small portion, to where we have to act a certain way when it comes to women in the workplace. So if he's making jokes about his female co-hosts, I think he said, some people are saying he said is that she was too attractive to be in a lesbian relationship, or some other thing. Like, listen, man, we don't know. I don't know if that's true. If it is, let me know. But if let's say that's true that he's making these comments, that's Cris being Cris. That's who he is. He makes jokes. He's the type of guy whose personality, I believe, wears thin on people. And because it wears thin on people, he ends up going from one job to the next. Because he's been on various television shows. I can't really name them all right now, but I really want to speak to the heart of the matter of who Cris Carter is. Cris Carter is a guy who has a personality that does not fit the modern male. A lot of modern males are weak. A lot of modern males are effeminate. A lot of modern males grew up without fathers. They're not mentally tough. They're lazy. They are afraid of women. And I try to tell guys to not be afraid of women. There's nothing about women that you should be afraid of. Now you do have the Me Too era that we are in. I think that era is slowly passing by because women want that era to pass by, because women see the effects of men no longer approaching them, and women's egos cannot take not being approached. This is why women go so hard on Instagram. They go so hard on Twitter and Facebook, even on YouTube now, because they realize that men are a lot more socially intelligent than they believe. See, we as men, we adapt. I don't think Cris adapt. I think Cris was going to be who Cris was. I think that also, I should have mentioned this earlier, he had an issue with wanting to be on Fox's football coverage that they do, which features Michael Strahan, which features also Michael Strahan, Tony Gonzalez, and Terry Bradshaw. He wanted to be a part of that. I could see him being a part of that, but by looking at their kickoff show, I noticed something about the show, right? They want Michael Strahan to be the star of the show. They want him to be the lead. They want him to basically be the director of, you know how you on screen you will have the lead guy on the commentary desk, and then you have all the other analysts. They want Michael to be that guy on Thursday night. They designed that for him to be that. They know that by putting Cris on that show, Cris is going to overshadow Michael. They pay Michael way too much money to him to be overshadowed. But be that as it may, I don't think he liked that either. And I think that for a while now, they probably have been trying to get rid of Cris, because we don't know what goes on behind the scenes. We don't know what Chris's personality is outside of, the show. So we can only go off of what we see. And unfortunately for Cris, I think they had a file on Cris. I think they had a file on Cris, and I think it got to the point to where they told Cris, listen, man, we got all this stuff on you, bro. Don't let us have to put this stuff public. Well, we gonna go ahead, we're gonna let you go. As long as you don't say nothing about us publicly, we're not going to say anything about you publicly. And that's how it's been. And if he blew up on the higher ups over Thursday Night Football, I think that was probably the last straw. But I believe they've had a file on Cris for quite some time. And they could also use the new marriage that he's in as a possible way to smear Cris. Not that they would do it intentionally, but you put information out about him saying things about his female co-host, about how attractive she's too attractive to be in a lesbian relationship. You know, that, you know, you look at the fact that he, you know, she's Caucasian and his wife is Caucasian, and he there's a lot of loving of non-black women there. But so I think Cris was like, you know what, I want to get another job. I don't want to burn any bridges. I'm just going to wait this thing out and see what happens. And I think that's where he is. But if he doesn't get a job soon, you're going to start to see him talk. You're going to start to see him do interviews, and the messiness is going to begin. But it's all predicated on whether he can get another job, you know, on TV. But it's going to be tough because he had just left ESPN. Like, if you're not at Fox Sports and not at ESPN, where are you going to go? Are you going to go to CBS? You know, are you going to go to one of these startups? Are you going to go to one of these local channels? So it's going to be interesting. Is he going to do college football? You know, is he going to do college football for some of these other networks like the Big Ten? Because he is a former Ohio State, you know, wide receiver. Is he going to go work for the Big Ten? You know? So I'm definitely going to be interested to see where it's going, but I don't think this is the last of it. I know I'm a little late on the commentary on this, but I just want to speak my thoughts on this now, because, you know, I don't like to talk about things always as soon as it happens. You know, you want to gain all the information that you can and then go ahead and make your analysis like I'm doing now.